All right, good morning, everyone. Good afternoon, wherever you may be. Definitely like to kick off things the way that I like to kick them off, and just like taking that deep breath, USA. And what we're doing with that breath today, we're here at a men's health conference. And just to get right point to your question, what got me involved with this, I think I can go all the way back to my first grade, my first day in kindergarten. Again, everybody comes together and stuff, and like 10 o'clock in the morning, the teacher says, everybody gotta take a nap. So my little 6-year-old self like, who are you, lady? I'm not gonna take no nap. So I ain't taking a nap, right? So all the little kids take the nap, and then when they get up, they see me sitting there, and I'm all like, haha, y'all babies had to take a nap. So the school teacher, Miss Spellman was her name, she went to the cabinet, and she pulled out this box of chocolate-covered, star-shaped graham cookies. And she went around to each student and gave them that with their milk. And when she got to me, she said, Rodney, you're not gonna get a cookie because you didn't listen to the instructions. So imagine my little self, my taste buds all disappointed. If I knew some curse words, I might would have said them. But long story short, here we go. So now I get home at night and I see the kids again, remember that. And what happens? Forethought for my future self comes into play. And so I start to think about how good that cookie would taste. So of course the next morning teacher say take a nap. Of course I take the nap, and when I get up I get the cookie. Everybody happy. So what really happened? The reward system was introduced. If I do this, I'll get that.
Right.
But what also happened again, forethought for my future self. Me thinking about something that I wanted in my future. But what really happened, what we don't know, and this is the type of things that need to be known because it happens all in life. Miss Spellman, of course, knew exactly what she was doing. Classical conditioning. So now when we start to talk about my first experience, as I look back on my life of neuroscience, and again, just that type of conditioning. So this is the deal, not knowing these things. Of course, after the first grade, Miss Spellman was my teacher about reward system. So now growing up in New York, Brooklyn, New York, they became my teacher of the reward system. If I do this, I'll get that. And those are just further stories as we get along. But anyway, this is not a shameless plug, but it is the truth. Lessons from the School of Hard Knocks is about my journey from Brooklyn, New York, to retiring as a robotic engineer in aerospace and everything in between. 20 years prison ministry. I've seen the same human mind make the same human mistakes that gets the same human body incarcerated. And to tie this all up, again, we have some gentlemen that's gonna be coming on next when we start to talk about mental health, God's brain, and I look forward to hearing from them. So if you have one more question.
I do. Let's actually talk about the brain's role in mindset. You were kind of talking about that. So how does the prefrontal cortex really influence our ability to set and achieve goals in life?
Okay, so this is a very good question. And we use the word prefrontal cortex. And you say that in everyday language. People really don't understand that because we have not been taught to understand that. And that's why this type of conference, where we get to use the word prefrontal cortex. And now we get to the subheadings. Prefrontal cortex is nothing more to the place where you make your executive decisions, where you add stuff up before you do what you do.
Yeah, I love how you break it down where it's understandable and digestible.
And that was one of the things, again, we want to understand. Words, labels, and phrases. They're designed to make the human mind visualize something. So if you was taught what a word is, what it means, and how to feel about it, again, that's the way it is. So just understanding when we talk about executive decisions, information comes in, our prefrontal cortex looks at it, makes an executive decision, but not only that, it gets help from the hippocampus, the place where the memories are. It gets help from the occipital lobe, the places where the visions are. Then all that bounces back into the prefrontal cortex. So now you start to see how this fits in into your mindfulness, how this fits into the stories we tell ourselves from what we perceive from the outside world. Yeah.
Thank you for that. Yeah. The amygdala often gets a bad rap for its role in fear. You were kind of talking about, those different places in the brain. And so can you explain how a well-regulated amygdala can actually help us embrace growth and overcome challenges in our life?
Okay, I sure can. This is the word amygdala. Sometimes that's even hard to pronounce because we have not been introduced to it. And the biggest thing when they talk about the amygdala and what they might say, of course, is where the fight or flight happens at. And that's all the information that they give us. But again, this type of conference is going to break down what the amygdala is when we talk about fear and emotions and everything that goes into those decision making before the cortisol starts to flow. And that's how we're going to be able to stop some things even before they start, just by breaking that whole thing down. And I look forward to that. So with that said, my amygdala, my prefrontal cortex, looks forward to hearing from the other men we have on the panel. So as we transition, y'all guys stay tuned. This is going to be a great day.